Do it. We're live.
Oh, Mike, I don't know if you noticed that, but in the pre-show, CJ sneakily didn't take himself out until the pre-show had already begun. He wanted to be in the pre-show. It's so big for his britches.
He gives the fans a little taste.
Yeah.
Just so you know, these two guys don't do it on their own.
There's somebody else here, even though they did it on their own for several years before I came. It didn't look as good. Let me tell you, CJ. And tell you something about something. Before you, I guess we did it on the phone wasn't all good, I guess.
Look, were there growing pains?
Uh-huh.
Were there? I mean, look, it was technology had to catch up to us.
Headphone mic.
All of it. Oh, the headphone mic was tough. That was tough. Yeah. I remember like being sad when I threw it away to be like, oh man, well, we had a good time. We had a good run, but that thing sucked. I was just, my ears were all hot the whole time.
One of my favorites was, and then we'll get going. We were using this program to record ourselves on Skype, and for some reason it would like automatically adjust the levels. And sometimes we would get really hot, and I didn't know it because I never listened to the pod. And we got an email from, what's her name? A great listener in Minneapolis. She was like, hey, I love you guys, but the audio has been fucked up for months now. Can you do something about it? And I finally heard it. Maybe it is good we have CJ. Maybe it is. Maybe. All right.
But also, I paid for Skype. I remember like paying for a minute. It was a different time. Like no one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
We were doing it like over Skype minutes. It wasn't good. Is it good now? Arguably no. But is it better? Absolutely.
The Rights of Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by Seat Geek. Get $20 off your first order with Seat Geek using promo code RTRS. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process, and our friends at Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter by Zoe. StatesideVodka.com. On the show today, the war takes a significantly different turn. Who wins this battle? Ben Simmons shows up at the Wells Fargo Center unannounced and texts Elton Brand, I guess. Somebody texted Elton Brand, took a COVID test, is practicing by himself. Maybe he still hasn't even spoken to any of his teammates. It's all pretty fucking stupid, but that's what we're here for. We'll also announce the winner of the Ricky Reprint t-shirt contest, bring back the Apple Podcast 5-star review of the week, as well as the YouTube comment of the week. And maybe, just maybe, if we have a little time, we will talk about the game against the Brooklyn Nets, where Furkan Korkmaz scored 27 points. Before we get going, you know, we've this has been a pet pod for a long time, and the occasionally a listener will say, you know, I've been listening to Ricky long enough to know where you were a cat guy instead of a dog guy. And that was because my first pet, Alabama, a cat that I adopted in 2006, passed on this week. Had to make the terrible decision yesterday morning. She had been sick for about a year. She was 17 years old. I adopted her when I moved to Chicago in 2006, and I had never had a pet before. And I was like lonely. So I went to the Anti-Cruelty Society, and there was this 4-pound cat that was very nasty to me. So I decided to adopt her. She tried to escape on the way home. But eventually, like, it's funny, you adopt a pet when you're that age, and you're like, I was 29, and you never think that pet will still be with you when you are 45. So she was a great cat. People that said they hated cats liked her because she loved attention, and she was super nice. She allowed Rebel into the house and my wife as well. And man, it's really weird to not have her in the house. So I love Alabama. She was named after Patricia Arquette's character in True Romance, one of my favorite movies. So I'm not a fan of Alabama or anything, the state or the college. In any case, love you, Alabama. Miss you very much. Without any further ado, the war on drugs.
I was lying in my bed, such a void of form. Been so afraid of everything. I need a chance to be reborn.
Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is waiting outside of your house, waiting to let him in so he can take his first COVID test. That is Mike Levin.
I'm just knocking. I'm out here knocking. Sorry about your cat, man. That sucks.
Thank you. Yeah. She was a good girl. She's weird, man. Like she was always like 4 or 5 pounds, and she always looked exactly the same. Like she was totally healthy, and then just caught up with her in the last year. But a really good cat. Knew how to annoy you and sit on your chest when you're trying to look at the television and just fucking not stop it. But a great cat. Thank you.
Hell of a run.
Yeah, she did have a great run. Lived in like 6 different places. My wife said to me, you know, it was so good that Alabama let Rebel live here. And I go, Alabama let you here live here. Like, don't forget, she was here before you were. Our intro music, as I mentioned, the war on drugs, until their new record comes out. The new record is called I Don't Live Here Anymore, comes out October 29th. That song was I Don't Live Here Anymore. So thank you to the war on drugs for letting us use the music. The Apple Podcast 5-star review of the week. It's back, Mike, per one listener request.
Great.
We're at 2,928. I don't remember what happens when we get to 3,000.
You read them all.
Yeah. 5-star rating comes from JGP680. It says intro, the best podcast for Sixers. Also the best podcast to hear the host intro the intro music every single podcast. So thank you, JGP680. Well, the Sixers and Ben Simmons situation, as you know, our last pod, nothing had happened. So we were due. We had 2 pods worth of stuff for something to happen. And so this is what happens. The quick recap is Woj and Shams start reporting that Clutch and the Sixers are working on an agreement, or we're like negotiating Ben Simmons' return as if he is a hostage of some sort. The last report is that he might return by the end of the week. On that very same day, while the Sixers are playing the Nets, per everyone's report, no one knew that Ben Simmons was just going to show up to the Wells Fargo Center, and someone texted Elton Brand and said that Ben was outside at the venue. I assume they sent someone to get him, and then he took his COVID test. And
in my mind, there's just like a huge, like the doors in Bree in Lord of the Rings when the hobbits are let in. They're like huge, like gates.
Okay.
That get swung open that eventually the ringwraiths will stomp through. But imagine just like Ben outside and Elton just like opening this massive door. Being like, what's up? You're here? What's up? What's going on?
So, you know, it's a little cloudy right now as he goes through COVID protocols, I guess. He's practicing by himself. It does not seem as if any of his teammates have talked to him yet, though many of them said...
just practicing driving kicks by himself.
Yeah. Just throws the ball out to the top of the key.
He's got a big rack of balls. Takes 2 dribbles in. Kick to no one.
So, you know, all of their comments were pretty much like, look, he can come back if he wants. He doesn't have to apologize. We weren't waiting for him. You know, it's all like sort of the same tone. Sort of like welcoming, but over it, I think is a good way to describe it, which seems like a fair way to be. Doc Rivers said he might play on Friday, but also that he might not. He doesn't know, and he doesn't know what's in another man's head. Reports are that Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey have met over the last couple of days. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report, also of the Ricky, says that Ben still has not given specific reasons as to why he wanted to be traded. This is so fucked up. I just like, I don't even know. I mean, do you have anything? The massive hand misplaying, obviously from Clutch, is just sort of like legendary. I would also say the massive, like, fuck it, we're not doing it until we want to, at least appearance from Morey is sort of legendary. You almost think that the Sixers had to do this, like as a precedent setter. Ben Simmons, I'm just sort of like spouting things. Ben Simmons,
had to do this. What do you mean had to do this?
Had to say, like, no, you have 4 years left on your contract. You barely have any trade value. We're not doing this simply because you say that we have to. Like, you know what I mean? Like
the whole thing. I thought you meant like,
yeah,
allow him back in.
No.
Open the door to the
Lord of the Rings
truck entrance of the building. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose, and you know, the appearance is him showing up immediately before the Nets game. Didn't want people to know where he was going to be and when he was going to be there because he's still very worried about fans, but also B, did not want to miss another game check. Obviously, the money hurt him, as Kyle Neubeck was reporting, I think, last week. We're getting to we're just saying things now. My intuition is that they do not plan on him actually playing. I think some of the COVID stuff
sorry, I got to ask it. Who is they?
Everyone. On both sides. I believe that I suppose they could sneak him into a preseason away game. But here is my thought, my overall thought, that the chances of him playing a home game and it going so poorly that it puts them in a worse bargaining position is like maybe not 80%, but it is certainly a high percentage given what we know about him, what we know about how the fans feel, all of those things. So I just would have to think they will avoid that. Also, so I think this is sort of a last-ditched effort. If I'm to project, this is the last-ditched effort to sort of like squeeze, send the message out. You better send your fucking offer now, or you never know. He could play and be pretty good. You never know. And my guess is this is over in 2 weeks or less, and that's sort of where I'm feeling it. I don't know where you feel.
Sorry. What do you mean by over?
He's traded.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think this is, I know a lot of people are saying he's gonna, like, he could be here until December or something. I just don't feel like it's realistic. So,
there's so many thousands of things to say. The first thing I'll say is like the idea, the people that are like, this is only about money. It's like, yeah, if I wasn't getting paid, yes, he wants to be paid. That is a fine reason to do anything.
$360,000 per game. I think
that's a fine reason to do a single thing. It's not for the love of whatever. Yes, people do their job for money. That's the point of it. Otherwise, I would sit at home, never move. I'd be like the friggin' Willy Wonka grandparents. This was so stupid. All of it was so dumb. It feels a little bit like Clutch, and I say Rich Paul, or I say Clutch, or I say Ben's camp. Like, I'm assuming they're not. I'm sure there's varying opinions within that bunch, but let's just say like them, the people around Ben, the decision makers around there, have misplayed this just so much, so like cartoonishly much that like. To not zero consequence, like Ben is basically a national joke, and a local joke,
and clutches too. By the way, I mean, like, they'll recover, but this has hurt them.
Absolutely. It's all about, so much of this shit is about perception and how you're being perceived by both the media and other players and other agents and other teams and all that stuff. Like, and it's gone poorly. But now it's gone so poorly, and they kept backing themselves. Last podcast, they all blend together at this point, but they backed themselves so far into the corner that they were just to keep digging for more corner. Now there's like, that's it. They're out of it. And so like it's basically gone so badly for them decision-making wise that they now have sort of like gotten leverage again in a really weird way. Like his first move like didn't
Are you
work
saying
at all.
two negative, like -2 times -2 equals +4?
A little. I mean, like it so like he holds out.
Mhm.
And then it's like, let's see if this works. It didn't work. It didn't work so spectacularly. And now that like he's here, he showed up. Now there's like, oh, he could kind of fuck some shit up in here if he really wants to. I don't know. I don't know how viscerally pissed off he is and just wants to like go around like, I don't know, knocking training tables over and like putting like writing Sharpies on the wall, just like generally damaging the building, or like saying shit to other players, or like other players
damaging the building. Is he going to be like the guy that wrote TTP in the light fixtures?
Yeah, he could write TTP in the lighting thing. He could just generally have like a minor tantrum everywhere he goes. Like I don't know how much he wants to do that, or if he's just like, look, whatever, this didn't fucking work. I'm gonna show up. I'll like dap up my teammates and be like, are we good? Like, let's just play basketball. Like, I don't know if it's that. I don't know, but like he now has leverage in the sense that like I could be incredibly problematic here, just as like a senioritis type coworker that just like doesn't give a fuck anymore. Like, I don't know. Like it's very bizarre. Nothing will make him look good, but I think he's already so far past like salvaging a reputation outside of just playing basketball. Like there's nothing he could do at this point. If he holds like the most gracious press conference of all time, which there's no reason to believe that there would be, that he has that within him at this point in his career. Then maybe that like people, like he buys people back on his side, but like it's just all been so stupid. Like everything's been so dumb, and like he hasn't had to answer any questions about this. His camp just leaks whatever they want. And the Sixers, like I think the Sixers have played this poorly from the beginning as well. But like over the last 3 months, there's really nothing else the Sixers could have done. Like
all they did was say they wanted him back. I mean, the only real error was the
right. But I think that the issue was that they said that after 3 months of replaying the Hawks series and people making fun of the shot and Anthony Mackie making fun of him at the SB, all these kinds of things. And 3 months later, the Sixers are like, by the way, we really actually love him. And it's like, bro, you should have said this 3 months ago. Anytime in the last 3 months. Maybe they were on vacation and they just didn't want to think about it. But like no one believed that they didn't want to trade him. And so it still rings hollow now when they're like, we really want him a part of our team. It's like, no, you don't. Like you don't.
You don't want him to be part of the team, and he doesn't want to be here. Everybody knows, like,
you just want him to get on the same page as you. It's like, bro, like we don't have the trade for you. You have this many years left on your contract and this much money, and you're not so good that you can just sit out and bend the league to your will. That like just get on the same page as us, which is us being like Sixers front office, coaching, whatever, ownership, and be like, let's just play, let's be fine, and like then we'll trade you as soon as we can trade you. All right, Alyssa's here and she doesn't have her keys, so she's outside. So you talk. And I'm just gonna go open. I'm gonna open the door and run back in.
Yes, I'm gonna hold it down. So here's me holding it down. I got so bored while Mike was talking. I started looking up Killers tickets on Seat Geek. So they rescheduled the Killers concert, the Killers and Johnny Marr at Madison Square Garden for October 1st, 2022. I use Seat Geek because my ass wants to be in a seat for the Killers. I'm too old to stand at a show, so I want a seat at the Killers show. Mike, I'm just looking up Killers tickets right here. Mike, I'm looking up Killers tickets with Seat Geek. So you're like, well, I just Google when I want tickets. You can't do that, because if you Google when you want tickets, you get a bunch of sites. You don't know what a good deal is. You don't know whether to trust the site, whether to not trust the site, all this. Buying tickets, somehow, it was very easy when I was a kid. You would wait in line at fucking Sears when the tickets went on sale at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Now it's a pain in the ass, except with SeatGeek. Because what SeatGeek does is it takes all the ticket sites and put them into one. You just buy it from SeatGeek, and it tells you whether it's a good deal or not. Like $51 for section 209, row 23. Great deal. 8.7 scale of 1 to 10. Green, you know. You can sort by price. You can sort by the best seats. If I want to sit in section 108D, it's a 9, an amazing deal. It's $478 a ticket. That's a lot of money. It's New York, whatever. SeatGeek's the only ticket app you need because it takes the tickets from all the other places. There's a reason it's got over 50,000 5-star reviews in the Apple App Store. Get 20
bucks. Probably used it. Honestly, I have the WNBA Finals Game 2 here, and they just cut to Dario in the front row.
There you go.
There's a bunch of Suns there, but Dario was up clapping, being really invested in Phoenix.
He probably
used SeatGeek.
Mulu's coming to New York next Thursday. I'll probably get on the list, but if I wasn't, I would use SeatGeek. Anyway, get 20 bucks off your first purchase with promo code RTRS at SeatGeek.com. That's RTRS at SeatGeek.com. 20 bucks off your first purchase. Download the app, SeatGeek.com. Love you, SeatGeek. Okay. So I just can't get over, I guess. I know what you just said about them all, hey, let's get on the same page. You fuck this up. We fuck this up. I just, for the life of me, can't imagine him getting off on the court in Philadelphia. I just I can't. Maybe I'm guessing as to like what he feels like, but I get just because I think a lot of the reason he wanted out of here is so he didn't have to do that one thing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think it's more. I think it's more than that, but I think that's certainly part of it. It's so hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube at this point. Like basically, it's like a couple that one of them they like went to the strip club and they like fucked somebody else, and like they like the other person like threw their clothes out the window and like smeared fucking whatever like Lubriderm all over their favorite shirt, Lubriderm. And now it's like, hey, we can make this work. It's like we're too past it.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have done all that shit.
Yeah,
put the Lubriderm away. Then maybe we could make it work. But we can now. It's too far gone. And everyone, look, Danny's saying the right stuff. Like Embiid's gonna say the right stuff. We're all professionals. Whatever. Blah blah blah. It's Doc's birthday today. Just he's got to be miserable. And I did see a quote where he said like, "There's no plan A without Ben and plan B with Ben. It's just plan A." And I'm like, well, that's dumb. That's stupid. That's a stupid thing to say. He's not just someone. He's not Mikal Bridges. Like you have to diagram a different system with him there. You can't just plop him in there. Like you should have other plans. This whole fucking thing that we got in here was that because he doesn't have anything past a plan A. Consider it. Consider other plans. Letters.
You might want to work on another plan. So we got an email from a listener who said, and I read all the emails, and you can sort of tell when somebody's bullshitting and when they're not bullshitting. And this guy texted me or emailed me, and he was like, "Hey, I was at the game on Monday night. I lucked into really cool tickets down by the court." And he goes, "To tell you the truth, the Sixers didn't seem that thrilled that Ben was coming back." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "I just don't want this to fuck up the season." I'm like, "What did they say?" So he said, he was sitting right next to the bench. So he said, "First, I'll say players were definitely focused." And he said, "Please don't use my name. Players were definitely focused on the game until individually they were pulled from the game for good. I heard Joel saying, 'I don't talk to that man,' multiple times to his other teammates. Whether or not that was in regards to Simmons, I can't be sure."
Come on.
No, wait, it gets better. Next, when the Woj tweet broke that Simmons arrived in Philly during the fourth quarter, Niang was sitting next to us and my buddy showed him. He rolled his eyes when he saw it and said something to the effect of, "I don't know how that's going to go over." He told us it was cool to show Joel. We were hesitant to bother Embiid, but Niang was really cool and chatting with us. He read it and said, "If he comes back, he better stand over there," looking and nodding toward the stands. He goes, "Maybe that was because he hadn't cleared protocol. I don't know. You could just tell how conflicted Maxey was regarding the whole thing. It has to be awkward for him."
That sounds nice. Yeah.
Me
and Maxey right in the same place. Come on, Tyrese. Come on in.
It sounds so
that's so bizarre. I heard a really funny story from my buddy Greg, who sat behind the Clippers bench, and Ty Lue called for Moses Wright, who's like a rookie or second year player, to come in. And Justice Winslow thought that he said Justice instead of Moses.
Okay.
And he was like, "You mean me?" And then he's like, "All right, whatever, get in there." And then Moses Wright comes in. He's like, getting his jersey off, and he's like, "Nah, sit back down." Like, it's just like, I think I don't want to hear bench talk.
Yeah.
I don't like it like makes me sad to hear guys like not being happy and stuff. I want Isaiah Joe to always be having a good time, even if he's not playing. But yeah, that just made me think of it. But yeah, I mean, look, if I'm Joel, I'm pissed. He already said that guys would be, you know, he would owe that. It's disrespectful, which it is. Like, it is. Like, you signed a fat fucking contract, and everybody just has like a different, like, I feel like I'm trying to be like a relationship counselor. Like, everybody's has a different like wound. And for the Sixers, it was like the Hawks series, really the Hawks series. And also 4 years of like not getting better at shooting and not getting better in the half court as a primary option, aside from like a couple of games when Joel sat in the middle of last season. And for Ben, it's like weird, you know, first of all, the Harden trade rumors that was borderline happened, and the team becoming more of an Embiid-centric team when Daryl took over, and not having a stretch five and those kinds of things. And there's just like wounds on both sides. And I think like there's medical stuff. Like there's just wounds on either side. And I think for the Sixers, for Daryl especially, it's like, bro, I wasn't here for that. Like, I don't give a fuck what Josh Harris says. He's just an owner. Fuck him. Medical staff, I'll replace him in a second. Like, there's just too much baggage there. And that's why it's hard to, like, if you go point by point and be like, how do we like rectify these particular situations? Like, you're in too deep. But
even the gameplay part of it, the first time he passes up some shot and they all like, you know, like, you remember how ugly the Harden thing got, and like, this is so much uglier than that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
for sure. It's strange. I don't know if he plays. Would he play like he's just at a pickup run where he's kind of like lackadaisical doing stuff, and then we get into like, does Doc bench him if he's not like showing enough effort? It's all so weird. And I wonder what the end game. I don't know if the Sixers know that if he's going to play. I don't know if Ben knows if he's going to play. Maybe he fakes an injury. Like, it's just all there are. I've said this like so many times where we're like, okay, it can't get worse than this, or like, here's the weirdest thing it's going to be. And then like him showing up is a really, like, if someone wrote this, I think it's a really, if we're like boarding the episode, like the season of where this happens. And it's like, he shows up is one. I'm like, fuck, that's a really good. And he shows up, doesn't text anybody. It's like, God, that's such a good pitch. Whoever pitched that, some like ESE pitches that. And it's like, God, that's really smart. Shit. I wish I thought of it. But like, we're just in hell. We're in hell. This is hell. I don't like it. The Sixers have looked better in the last couple preseason games than I've guessed, but it's obviously preseason. We can talk about that in a second. But like,
we will.
They're just like, it's, I really, truly, deeply get why Daryl hasn't made a trade yet, because it's not good enough. I really get he does not want to get fucked over. He does not want to do the, like, you know, 25 cents on a dollar, 75 cents on a dollar, whatever it ends up being. He doesn't want to be that guy. Like, he's both. I don't think it's because of an ego thing. Like, I don't get fucked over on deals, but I think it's like literally,
how many chances does he have to?
How many chances does he have? Exactly. Like, you could probably package like some trade for some good players with the young guys on this team plus a bunch of picks. Like, you could go all in that way, but like an all-star under team control at his age for this long, who is like defensive minded, who is not you know, does all the things that Ben does. We don't have to get into it, but like, that person does not get traded this often. I can't think of a single time when a person this young with this many years left on his contract is this available for trades. And I just think he like knows how much of it's obviously complicated. It's not easy. It's not like he's a weird fit a bunch of places, but like, he knows how much of in for the right team, like, prized package that would be. And I just don't think he's going to do it for anything less than like an A-, unless like the team starts off so poorly or he goes in there and like pisses on the court.
I think also he's probably got to pay a Daryl tax on any trade. So every asset, regardless of what Ben is worth, every asset you have is valuable. Like, he might have to pay more given the situation for a star than somebody else might have to pay. I thought so.
Do you think
because
because people are wary of
losing a trade to Daryl?
Losing a trade to Daryl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know. Maybe not like there's probably like 10, just guessing, like 10 GMs that are like, I don't give a fuck, whatever the deal is. But and then probably like 15 or 20 that are a little bit more like so image conscious that they would be really hesitant to do anything at all.
And especially given like he's
Colangelo would obviously be one of them.
Yes. He's finally in the like the bad side, you know, like he's finally in the
he's down bad.
He's down bad. So 2 comments, one YouTube and one email I just thought were appropriate. One current YouTube. The comments brought to you by Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. Remember, the vodka sodas are back in stock, which are only fruit juice and Stateside and soda. Only no added sugar, no added anything, gluten-free. Get the party pack, 4 different flavors for $20, and the vodka at statesidevodka.com. Got to be 21. So Brian B says in the YouTube chat, the 13 other Sixers, including injured Grant Riller, should hold him down. Joel beats him with a sock full of pennies. Then we all move on. and then the email from regular emailer Arsenio. Unlike Mike Breen, Simmons returning isn't good news for me. However, a few things can happen that can make it palatable in the short term. Nobody says shit when he walks in the locker room. Everybody stares as he's handed a script that reads, "I am an ass," that he must read aloud. His teammates get to form a line and punch him in the face. He's tasked with providing a frame-by-frame breakdown of the Korkmaz video. He pledges free Frosties to the city of Philadelphia for every free throw he misses in a Sixers jersey, and he must commit to wearing a clown suit for those cool arena arrival pictures.
Yeah, him dressing up as like Franklin would be cool. Like that might be a good way to do it. I don't know. I find it really, really hard to believe that he plays. I find it really,
that's
really,
where I am. It sounds
home or
crazy
away. It just feels like we're too far gone. If we entertain the possibility, like, okay, let's say in a world where he does play, what would have to happen? Like, I don't know. Like between teammates, like that's going to happen behind closed doors. We're probably not going to hear much about it. Like maybe we'll hear something like we worked it out. We worked it out among men. They always want to say their gender when they talk about issues. Like we as men, we figured it out. And with the fans, like, I don't know, like
what is this, like the 78 Dallas Cowboys yearbook that you're talking about?
No, they talk about it all the time.
Can you imagine Embiid coming out and saying that? I can't. You can?
Doc said it the other day. I'm not going to pretend to know what's in another man's head. Like everyone says that all the time. They still do it. LeBron says it as men. It's always as men. We're grown men, like all that stuff. Honestly, like if Ben plays in front of the fans, like no matter what, there's going to be a lot of boos. Could there be fewer boos if like Joel like came out and said like don't boo him, like
I don't think,
or like hey, I love this guy, like they give each other a kiss, like I don't know what would prevent it, but like maybe he like rides in on, I don't know, he'll have to like choke slam a Cowboys fan or something like that, like there will require some pageantry. And it does feel like wrestling. Like it genuinely feels like wrestling because of how much of a heel he'll be coming in. Like it'll be like Hogan joins NWO level, like returning home for Ben. Like it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how it exists. So that's why it feels like it won't. But I've been wrong so many times in this process. So just let's see it. Let's fucking see it then.
I don't know that anyone could have imagined, no matter where we thought this would end up, and the Sixers never disappoint, to somehow make everything just the most fucked up version of what it could be that you could imagine. And that's what this is. It's just the shit show never, and everyone has the same shit show story. Shams does, and Woj does, Jake Fisher now, and the whole crew of people who, you know, print whatever anybody tells them to. The whole crew all has the same fucking story at this point. God bless him. God bless him. Get yourself a Big Barker dog bed. Well, not you. That would be strange. Well, I don't know. You can get you a Big Barker dog bed. Get your dog a Big Barker dog.
I have the dogs visiting. You can bring them down. Get those puppies organized and lay them down. Nice, comfortable, thick.
Yep.
Joint. Positive bed.
There you go. Thick joint positive bed. BigBarker.com/Ricky. BigBarker.com/Ricky. Get your dog a Big Barker dog bed. It's the only dog bed on the market that can say, Penn Vet did a study on our bed and it actually makes your dog healthier. It did it. 17% improvement in joint function, 21% reduction in pain severity. Your whole job as a pet owner is to make your pet's life fucking amazing. And your dog spends so much time sleeping. Get your dog an amazing bed. Look at the pictures. Make your dog a processed pup. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. You get the Big Barker dog bed and the processed pup patches, 2 of them. You send us a picture of your dog on the Big Barker dog bed. We put them up in the gallery. Having some technical problems. There's like 8 dogs waiting in queue in the gallery. I'm sorry. Dogs are animals. They're creatures that they have joints. They have bodies. They need to sleep on a healthy mattress, just like you do. Big Barker is imagine if you slept on a shitty mattress. You know, when you go to a bad Airbnb, you get that thin mattress. You can't put your dog on that thing. Get a Big Barker. 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. 1-year at-home trial. You don't like it? Send it back. Send it back. They give you a full refund. They'll even pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. Do you want to talk about the Nets game? Which T-shirt won the contest?
Yeah, the Nets game was good. It was nice to win.
It was.
The Nets are obviously going through their own version of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
somehow less fucked up than ours.
I think it is less fucked up. I think it's less fucked up, and like because there's other people have like more obvious shit happen. Like this kind of thing where Kyrie is taking a sort of quiet, hard stance for the voice as a voice for the voiceless.
Voice for the voiceless.
Yeah. It's just such a quiet voice for the voice.
It's impressive that he's going to stand up and make $20 million for doing nothing for the voiceless.
God bless him.
For the voiceless.
But that's obvious. Like that's happening around the country. Like that's more like that's too topical. Like get out of here.
It's normal.
It's too normal. It's too obvious.
Yep.
Now, like if some team, like if the Mavs had someone who had like stormed the Capitol, then that would be more fucked up. I would give them that. That would be past it. It's too topical, but like that's beyond, and I would accept. Ours is still weirder than that. But it was a great game. They played well.
Starting backcourt of Isaiah Joe and Furkan Korkmaz.
Absolutely. Look, I've been saying a lot that the team will not without Ben, the team will struggle to pass. But that hasn't been the case in the preseason. They've been looking good. Korkmaz made a bunch of really nice passes. Isaiah Joe is developing as a ball handler. It is not out of the realm of possibility to believe Isaiah Joe could like run a second unit one day as a point guard, run a little offense. He's got some handles. He's got some, and I think really like with Korkmaz and Isaiah Joe, the threat to shoot and pull up from anywhere if they go behind on the screen. Fucking Kevin Durant, arguably the best player in the league, goes under on a Korkmaz screen and he fucking lets it fly. It's beautiful to see. And I think the threat of that really makes it easier as a shooter. Obviously, the Sixers haven't had a point guard who could shoot in a really long time. So that is an element that they have nicely. And those guys are good. There's passing, there's shooting. There's a little bit of height in Korkmaz's case. They played really well. And I like both of those guys. I think Isaiah Joe, 100%. We don't need to keep saying it, but we will keep saying it. Must be in the rotation. Must start in the rotation. Must absolutely be in a basketball uniform all the time. Don't even let him put on warm-ups.
Confident as shit. I like that. Like, lets it fly. Two things. Can't take Doc. I know it's just basketball speak, but he hasn't given us basketball speak a lot. So I don't want to he's like, we got to find a way to get minutes for that guy. I wonder who could figure that out, Doc. I wonder how we're going to fucking find a way that this basketball player who's under contract and in uniform and on the bench is going to find his way onto the court. Who decides? Who decides?
It's nice. It's nice that the Sixers have this depth because people will get hurt and people will struggle, and when they struggle, they should, be out of the rotation because, like, this was a problem. Like, I don't know, keep talking about the fucking Phillies, but like, how many Phillies just kept struggling without anybody replacing them? Like, if Shake struggles, and he has been, he should not be in the rotation. Like, I love Shake. I believe in Shake as a future rotation player in the league. I think he's could be very good, but he has not figured out ways to impact the game positively with the ball in his hands much as consistently as I want it to be. And the shot comes and goes too much. So if the defense is there, he'll play. But right now, Isaiah Joe is both letting it fly incredibly quickly, shooting off movement really nicely, and hitting a ton of shots and working his ass off defensively. And I like it, and he deserves to play over Shake right now. And you know I'm a Shake guy. Everyone knows I'm a Shake guy, but Isaiah Joe deserves the spot right now.
Now, obviously, when you remove a starter and don't replace that player with anything, from a talent standpoint, you're lower. But it is amazing what it looks like. And obviously, neither Isaiah Joe or Furkan Korkmaz are point guard. But it is amazing what it can look like when there's not some dumb fuck in the backcourt pretending to be a point guard, refusing to shoot and standing around waiting for other people to do things. Like, even there was a double team early on Embiid, and he just stepped into the lane and kicked it out to Korkmaz. And like, when his options are every player on the court, it just makes things a lot easier and does sort of paint the picture of what it could be like if you were to replace Simmons with like a good, really good shooter player, like what that team could be. That's the obviously I don't think they make that. I don't think anyone's making that Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving trade. But like, when you think about the offense of what that could be like, or any of those players, like those really skilled guards, it just makes all of these players that seem like they have to take on too much, from the Isaiah Joes to the Furkan Korkmazes to Tyrese Maxey, all these, it just puts them in the right space, where they don't have to do too much. They only have to do what they need to do. And it would be good. Are you worried at all? I guess it's the preseason and whatever, but the fact that they keep talking about resting Tobias Harris's knee after a full off season is like, I don't know, like, makes me raise my eyebrow a little bit. Have you thought about, like, it's not rest,
honestly,
it's
haven't thought about it. It's the preseason, but as a Sixers fan, I probably should be concerned. Like, there's no reason we haven't been given a long history of not being concerned, and that's paid off. But I haven't thought about it. I think Tobias is a professional. He's going to do what he does.
Like a man.
He's going like as a man, he's going to do what he does. But I don't. The preseason is, in every sport, is like getting even less and less important. So like,
yeah,
they're practicing, they're working hard, they're doing runs whenever they can. So I'm not worried about him being like rusty or whatever. If he has knee soreness, I think that's kind of happens. It's tough to have it at this point in the season, but and we got enough to worry about. We got enough to worry about. Nobody is, to this point, knock on everything, gotten hurt. Malcolm Brogdon has a AC sprain, which is in the shoulder collarbone joint. So that is like another possible great thing. There's just like, I don't know.
How are we going to find Isaiah Joe minutes? Before we get to the mailbag, I feel like you're going to protest this. So we'll just get this out of the way now. We did the vote for reprinting an old t-shirt. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them on sale, I think, this weekend. There were a bunch of shirts that were like tied at the top. So I made the executive decision, and I feel like you're going to object to this, to reprint. And it's going to be a pre-sale, so you can just buy 6 shirts.
I don't care. We're not the Disney Vault. What do I care?
All right. Nice. I love it. All right. So 6 shirts win it. It was just, that's why I did the ranked choice voting. And I think the ranked choice voting showed that there was a solid difference. There was like a divide between these 6 and the rest of the shirts. So the 6 are 1 part courage, 2 parts patience. The Sam Hinkie t-shirt from the lottery party.
CJ's ripping through these pictures. He's really heavy on the next button.
I know.
When you pause for a second.
There it is. 1
CJ, calm down. Just relax. Let the shirts breathe.
1 part courage, 2 parts patience. The number 2 one is the Justice for Joel t-shirt from Fly the Process to Operation Shithole Milwaukee. A great shirt, has never been for sale. only has been fly the process. The next one, the Imagine Enjoying a Sport in Philadelphia Joel version, which is a play off of a, I think the Lennon art or whatever. I think that's what it is. Yeah. The next, the art from the picture I took of Rebel wearing a dress shirt, and it said, "This is a normal collar." This was also never for sale. This was a Bark in the Park. That is a real picture of my dog wearing a real dress shirt, one of mine.
Obviously, normal collar has had a resurgence because of the Jason Kidd collars.
Jason Kidd image. Yep.
It's anytime any collar stuff is in the news, we know we're getting hit with it. So.
Yep.
Fun memories.
Process or Die, which is just our most thirsty of all shirts. We're just like, hey, we'll do the snake thing too. It was a playoff shirt one year. We'll do it in a different color. And the Process Core 4 t-shirt, of course, with Hinky, TJ, Covington, Joel as Skulls, Dario from the Appetite for Destruction cover. That is from Bust the Process 4. So they will be on sale hopefully this weekend. And we'll make them cheap, like $20 or $21 or something like that. So thank you for voting. Lots and lots of people voted. This was an email from Bub. He says, Spike E. Mike. He was emailing us from the border. Non-basketball question. This is a t-shirt question. Do you have any Ben Simmons themed Ricky t-shirts? And I think the answer is no. We don't do a lot of player shirts. They're mostly just for a lot of lottery party. We don't have any Ben themed ones, right?
No,
I can't think of any. And then he also says, is this why he wants to leave town?
Could be.
Could be.
I was waiting because obviously we did the pilot together. So I was waiting for like the right time to have him. And then it was COVID and then this happened. So it's probably never going to happen.
Probably.
Probably never.
Probably.
Look, we wrote Markel a get well card. Things come around. You never know.
Things change.
But yeah, we never did one. Never found the right one.
Yeah. Before we get to the mailbag, Kornblau and Kornblau is the official law firm of the process. Kornblau, just a long trusted sponsor. You get injured some way, or you need a lawyer for anything. You don't know who to go to unless like your uncle's a lawyer, your dad knows one. Nobody knows what lawyer to go to. And you think of all these commercials you see. Oh, I hear these commercials. I see these commercials. Well, you can't go to them because that's not even the person you're dealing with. They're just referral services, advertising to get referral. Kornblau and Kornblau is an actual law firm here in the Delaware Valley with a process trusting one of us guy who's running it, Adam Kornblau, runs it with his mom. His parents started this law firm 40 years ago, and they're still going strong. They are the premier boutique law firm. We are a boutique podcast. They're a boutique law firm in the Delaware Valley. It's important when you're in a situation like this, whether you're in a car accident or you're injured at work. I was in a car accident once. There was a lawsuit afterwards, and it is just the longest, most frustrating thing. You really need somebody who you trust because that's really the person that's going to tell you what they think you should do. You really got to trust him. That's what Kornblau is. And we've had so many listeners go to him for that or for other legal things. He helps out Ricky listeners with everything. You don't need another lawyer. If you're in an accident or you get hurt, don't lie. Don't be a hero. Call or email Kornblau. You'll always get a Kornblau. Everyone does, no matter when you email him. Email him right now. See if he calls you back. Kornblau at kornblauandkornblau.com. Call 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Before we get to the mailbag, your YouTube comment of the week, which comes from Six Pistols. Spike, can you call Mike a little later in the day? Mike looks like he just woke up for a few episodes now.
It's a mix.
Yeah.
It's a mix because how many times, the rare occasion that you're way too tired to do the podcast and then I'm locked in. So
yeah, come on.
And I bring it we hit, it's a build. It's a crescendo.
Yeah. And by the end of the podcast during the week, I'm fucking exhausted. And by the way, if you're a regular listener of the Ricky, you've been tired for the weekend pod for 7 years now. Like I don't even remember when you weren't. Like it's part of the bit. Like it's part of the whole pod. Yeah.
Well, we used to do weekday mornings and like I would wake up at like 5:45 or something. So that's insane.
Before CJ changed time.
Yeah.
made it possible for you not to do that anymore.
CJ is our daylight savings time.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com is the email address. Send us one basketball, one non-basketball. This comes from Brian. What's up, Spike and Mike? Became a fan of the pod during the COVID times as a way to pass the time, and now I anxiously await for the release of every episode. Thank you for your content. The basketball question. If Ben does show up now, plays in live action, and resembles somewhat the way he played in the Hawks series, how long before you think Daryl or Doc would continue to play him in fear of even further diminishing his trade value? Would clutch push for him to sit as well? Neither of us can imagine him playing.
Yeah, I mean, I said that earlier in the podcast. Like, I don't, the idea of like him going 100%, and especially defensively, that's what he was going last year. That's why I finished second in defensive player of the year. Like him doing a basically LSU version of defense while like at the NBA level doing his offensive thing and kind of just like casually dipping in a little bit. Like it might be weird. I don't know. That's a really weird reality to imagine. And I'm sure what will actually come to pass will be far stranger than that.
Oh, yeah. As weird as we can imagine this is, it will be weirder. Non-basketball question from Brian. Mike, would you rather fight a chicken every time you get in a car or fight one orangutan with a sword randomly once a year? You do not know when the orangutan duel will happen, so you need to be constantly prepared.
So I always have the sword?
You will be given a sword, yes, but then also every time you get in a car, you have to fight a chicken.
I could arrange my life to not get in cars.
You live in LA, that would be tough.
Yeah, I start to take public transit. They're working on it. They're working on it. Or various other modes of transportation. Or I could just do a once a year, rip the Band-Aid. Usually I do that. Usually I pick the once a year thing. The fewer times to be bothered is what I go with. So
yeah,
it'd be also cool to wield a sword. Not that I want to kill an orangutan, but if that is the situation, then I think I'd probably go with the orangutan for just ease. The ease of it.
Especially in Los Angeles. If somebody in New York, they could, maybe you're in a car 3 times a year or something. Maybe you could spend.
I do believe the orangutan has the sword in this fight.
Oh, okay.
This has been a hot topic in my friend group recently, and the orangutan has the sword.
Wait a minute, is this a thing that somebody?
I think now the podcast is CJ's friends' thoughts. That's what we're doing now. Great.
What the fuck?
Great.
How did this happen?
That's right.
Wow.
Well,
okay,
that changes things.
I'm against, and I have nothing. I'm armed with just my
wits.
You
have to fight the chicken. This is not even a thought.
Yeah.
Orangutan's too close to a
I
human.
could just start carrying a sword. So I guess that's
you could carry a gun.
I could carry the sword in my car, which I'd be allowed to drive in that situation. I don't think an orangutan is going to be great with a sword. Not that I would be either, but like I feel like so much of the orangutan's ability is like wrapped up in like the chaos of using all of his or hers arms and limbs.
You die the first time. I
don't what some like swords, some sword fighter orangutan, like someone that's like trained in the art of the blade orangutan. Like no way, he's might as well hit himself. He doesn't know.
You do not need to be trained in the art of the blade to have a sword when the other thing doesn't have a sword.
I will start carrying a sword.
Okay.
If I pick that, I will start carrying a sword. So it's once a year. All I have to do is carry a sword. I don't have to fight a chicken every time I get in a goddamn car. Once a year, God. I will beat an orangutan in a sword fight.
This is a good question from Josh. Non-basketball. This is non-basketball. If we give Ben Simmons truth serum and courage serum and stood him in the front of the full roster / organization, who are the first 3 people he'd address and what would he say?
Address.
You know what the word means in this context, right?
Yes, of course I know what address. Thank you. I don't know that like.
What would he say if we stripped away all of his inhibitions and he was he was leaving, and everyone was there. Like,
Yeah,
what would he have the biggest?
sure. I mean, I
What
think
would be
Joel would
Doc
definitely
Joel?
Doc and
right?
Joel 100%. Maybe Josh Harris. That seems probably right. I doubt he has anything like that against Daryl, although maybe there's some soreness with Daryl doing a tennis thing with Joel and not making it by party. And there's the Michael Rubin stuff. Everybody, both of them had like their billionaires that they were like friends with. I don't know. I don't care. I don't like the. Ben would talk to at least Joel and Doc. I'm sure there are things.
I think there are emotions there.
Of course, rightfully so. You work with somebody for that long, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I hope he just tells Josh Harris to go fuck himself, even if Ben is also in the wrong. Like someone.
He's kind of the guy that would not be mad at Josh. I don't know. He'd probably like Josh Harris.
I don't know.
From Justin, basketball question: what is your favorite non-Sixers basketball moment? This one's easy for me. I'm curious what yours is.
You're gonna say the John Starks dunk? Yeah,
of course. Like I wanted to fucking leap out of my skin. I still get chills when I watch it. It's amazing.
It's easy to think of like end of game moments.
Mm-hmm.
So like LeBron's block was just an awesome basketball moment to happen.
The Ray Allen 3.
The Ray Allen 3 was very cool.
I remember like leaping out of the couch and just fucking screaming when that one had. I mean, that was a crazy play.
Mm-hmm. The Chris Jenkins buzzer beater was dope. Villanova over UNC. That was such a cool play. I'm not a pro or anti Villanova. I guess I'm generally pro. I didn't go to any of the Big Five schools, so it's like I'll just root for them all. So that was fun. Do I have a favorite Sixers moment? It's been so many bad ones. Hard to imagine. Anyway.
And then since we're at war, what is your favorite war movie?
Interesting. CJ, do we have a war sound? Do we have war battlefield?
Do you have a list of war pictures you can speed through?
We're really taking it to CJ right now. Favorite war movie. I enjoy. It's hard to like Saving Private Ryan's good. Like it's good. I liked Dunkirk, but I didn't love it.
I have 3. They're also so like standard. I'm curious to see what you say.
Yeah, I definitely have more. I'm like looking through movies right now, which is
so I'll say mine. Mine are Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, and Hurt Locker. And by the way, I really like the fucking Tarantino Brad Pitt one.
Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards. I like that movie a lot.
There's a movie called 71 that was good. I like that. He's like abandoned behind enemy lines, like in Belfast. That was cool. That came out a couple years ago. I don't know. I'm not a huge war movie. I like enjoy it, but all of them are kind of all the same. They're kind of just doing the same thing. There's a lot of sounds.
I did write down. We were talking about horror movies last time. I write down a quick list of horror movies I really love. If you're looking for them, and by the way, if you're into the fucking more miserable end of this, like The Dark and the Wicked, send me an email. I'll send you the more miserable ones. But off the top of my head, The Ring, Paranormal Activity 3, The Strangers, The Shining, Blackcoat's Daughter, Evil Dead 2, The Babadook, Hereditary, Overlord, Sinister, Sputnik, and Creep.
You said Babadook. It's like such a Philadelphia in there. It was really funny. Fucking really? Babadook.
Isn't it Babadook?
Babadook.
Is it? Huh. Did you see
it?
it?
I don't think I didn't see it, but I heard people talk about it. Everyone says. I I like how you said. I think you should say it that way all the time, but it is a very Philadelphia way to say it.
I saw the
That
movie. I feel like, did they even say it in the movie? I feel like they did. I don't want to spoil it, but it is not your. I think it's Australian. It's not your typical horror movie. And I got criticized. Well, I got complimented and criticized. Complimented because I said Melbourne, for Melbourne.
Sure.
There's a lot, and then, but I was criticized. It's not Aussie, it's Aussie. So I want to correct that moving forward. And final email. Okay, this one comes from Brock. Who on the current roster do you feel has the best chance of winning Sixth Man of the year? My dark horse, that is not the best chance, but my dark horse vote would be Korkmaz. That's what Brock says. It's got to be Maxey, right?
I think none of them. I think Maxey will very much more likely start for at least enough of the season that he'd be prohibited from that. I could see it being like I like George Niang, man. I like him. He's going to get out those threes.
He can't win Sixth Man of the year. He can't.
Why?
Because there's no way he can score enough. There's just
I don't think anyone will. I don't think anyone on the Sixers will. Yeah. I think that they have too balanced of a bench of guys that all
are pretty good
and will take shots if they get them. I mean, like, it would suck. This is not the case. This is not how this award goes, but like Andre Drummond getting it would be pretty funny if he puts up those kinds of stats. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think any Sixers are even close to a candidate. It's a bummer that Shake didn't keep, like, he was hot for a little bit and he didn't keep that up last year, because he would have. I think I bet him, actually. I think I went Shake on a pretty good odds for Sixth Man, but it'll be somebody that is like basically a starter that plays like 32 minutes off the bench, like Clarkson or whoever.
And we'll end on a non-basketball question, either from Joe or from your boy Jaron. That's how he wrote it. Who do you want it from?
If it's my boy Jaron, I'll go with my boy Jaron.
Jaron says, would you rather eat, and this is, you got to think about this for a second. Would you rather eat chocolate pudding that tasted like shit, actual shit, or shit that tasted like chocolate pudding?
Okay.
See, it's tricky.
Do I know? Do I have to know?
Yeah.
Could I just have somebody just like give it to me? And I was like,
you got to make the choice. You got to eat the pudding that tastes like shit, Mike. You have to.
Do I?
Yeah, you can't eat actual shit. You can't.
That feels like just being so worried about other people perceiving you as someone who ate shit, rather than you knowing that like I'm eating shit and I'm eating it and it tastes like shit.
The danger, it's human, it's waste. It's like,
okay, yeah. I mean, if we're talking, we've done this kind of thing before, and it's usually like you don't get a disease type of situation.
Yeah, you won't. Let's say you could get like sick for the day, but you don't get a real disease.
But I think I'm getting sick for the day either way. If I'm eating something that tastes like shit, I'm going to feel ill. And if there's a world where I can be like, I don't know, tastes like pudding, then I feel like I could at least push through that feeling for a little bit. There's at least some joy in that. I don't know. It's not a great look. I'd rather do neither. As with every one of these options, I'd rather just keep living my life. I have a very nice life aside from the Sixers, and I don't want to have to do these horrible options. But this is what we do.
All right. Well, there's another game. Friday is the final preseason game, I think. And then regular season starts next week, and we're fucking here. Boy, I'm sure it'll get weirder. Curious to see what happens. Good luck, everyone. Good luck out there.
We're just riding the water slide. I am not holding on to anything. I'm just letting it take me wherever it will.
That sounds more like a river or something. Water slide has a very direct.
It's a long water slide, and it's got many twists and turns, and it's dangerous, and it was not approved by any sort of water slide council. And I'm just on it for a long time. I don't have good self-reception, and nobody can contact me. I'm just on it for years of my life.
All right.
That's where I am.
All right. We will talk to you this weekend. one more time, because she's obviously, I love my fucking cat and I miss her. I love you, Alabama. Last thing. We will talk to you this weekend. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. You? No. Like face.
But I'm rising.